Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are watching this video. Today I'm going to show you how I wrapped this ametrine medallion. It is a large stone, so we're going to encapsulate it with this type of weave. I'm using two 21 square copper wire as the tracks, the two on the sides, and then this is a 26 gauge copper wire that is being weaved, that's weaving the two together. It's a figure 8. So you're going to make one full circle and then pass it in through to the other side. It's just a tedious type of wrap. There's not much, it's not very complicated. So it is pretty simple. This was a sped up version, but obviously I had slowed it down. You see me constantly straightening it out. I just like to use these pliers. It helps make everything a little bit easier. Here we have the completed skeleton. I wanted to make sure I finished the skeleton so I could show you this beautiful stone. This is the ametrine that we'll be making a medallion out of. The shape of the stone shows that it's actually a flower. So those two little lumps on the top of it, if you were to cut those from the side, you would see one point that the stone grew from. So there is two flowers in this gorgeous stone. Purple is one of my favorite colors, definitely. It is very rare that citrine and amethyst actually combine in nature. So this one stone did come from Bolivia. It comes from one specific mine. It is quite rare, and it's absolutely stunning. Sharp purple, yellow / orange undertones. It's gorgeous. In no way was this stone heat treated like often it is. Not gonna lie. So anywho, let's get down to business. We're going to figure out, the best way to show the stone and get the skeleton to do what I want it to do. This is why I love wire so much, because it is malleable. You can move it around. It's not gonna it's once you put it there, it's not gonna stay forever, and then that kind of makes it a double-edged sword. So you have to make sure everything's very tight. Very tight weave is very important, because obviously you don't want this baby popping out. That was kind of funny, I don't know. So we're just figuring out how to manipulate the wire and to best show off the stone. When it comes to large pieces like this, it's important to make sure that the skeleton is at least double the circumference of the stone you're using, because I personally love this hammock, for lack of a better term, type of like caressing little skeleton thing, because I want to show as much of the stone as possible. So now that I kind of moved it around in the shape that the stone is, I'm going to use the handle part of one of my pliers to make a nice bend. I like it to look kind of like like a king cobra, how it has that beautiful arch. I love that look for the bail of a more complicated wrap. So again, not everything is done once it's been moved around, because you have to make every piece is different. You have to make sure that if you like it, then you're doing great, because that's really what it comes down to. If I have a buyer who is interested in my work, it's because I've put my love into my work. Again, I've been doing this for several years. Taught myself, just showing you what the back looks like. definitely would compare my wrapping style for the bail as the King Cobra. It looks really nice, it looks expensive. Because my style of wrap is very like organic, each wrap depends on the stone itself. I do take a lot of my inspiration from nature. Um, so just manipulating the wire here, trying to get the skeleton exactly the way that I want it, strong and tight. So we got these two little edges on the side from the track of the tail that I had showed you earlier. Figuring out how I'm going to use and where I'm going to put them, most aesthetically pleasing. So now we're taking that piece that goes up the side, up and around the bail. I like to use one large piece to wrap the whole thing. Many pieces, they can get a little more complicated, which I do like to do. But in this case, I just did a nice big skeleton. So trying to picture what it's going to look like after I tighten up all these loose ends. These curved or angled pliers are awesome. I use them all the time. Make my life a whole lot easier. So I'm thinking I'm gonna put this little extra piece I have right here through the inside and maybe wrap it around the front. It's always good to use more wire than not enough. You see, because when you start manipulating the wire, the loose ends, they can start moving around, because it's a coil. So if you have too much, then at least you can get rid of it. But if there's not enough, like this one that's sticking out right now, then you're kind of stuck with, using what you got. So it's always best to use more than less here. So I'm going as careful as I can, make this part nice and tight. So after all, I decided to go through to the back to really solidify the piece. You want all pieces nice and tight, getting all those loose ends. I'm trying to get rid of this last little bit that's like giving me a problem. So trying to be gentle, but also, gotta get this thing doing what I want it to do. You know what I'm saying? Taking that little piece off. Now I'm really gonna strap it down. Usually I'm wearing gloves, but I've realized that you don't get to see as much with the glove. So I'm just using my bare hands for you guys. And really, I do enjoy wrapping with my bare hands. Sometimes the stones are really sharp, or they might not be totally solid like an amethyst. So I'll have to use it. Like if I was wrapping selenite, which I'll do in a video eventually, it can be kind of chalky and breaks off like little needles or like hair-like, and then I can get splinters. So sometimes you do really need gloves. And if you've seen my other videos, the type of gloves that I like are for like rose bushes or gardening. They're thin, so that way you can really get the grip and feel exactly what you're doing, because you also don't want to break the stone. So I'm getting this loose end, and it's moving around a little bit, so I gotta get that little coil off to the side. So you might think you're gonna do the wrap one way and end up doing it another. And it's all good. The main part is that you're giving the stone justice and you're trying your best. You know, again, if you like what you're doing, then good. If not, I have definitely started, finished, and then destroyed a piece because I didn't like it. But that's just me. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Not gonna lie. So, oh, I had to crack my hands here. Sometimes that happens. I'm using a lot of pressure to squeeze the stone. Damn, not gonna lie, this thing is gorgeous. So, straightening out the back here. Sorry, you're gonna hear me toot my own horn. Everything that I make, I do put a lot of love into it. You know, I always try and think to myself, am I satisfied? Would I buy this? Would I be proud to wear this? You know, and that's what I mean by perfectionist. I really enjoy the artwork that I make, and if and when I sell something, I take great joy out of somebody else enjoying the piece just as much as I did or do, you know. So, you'll always see me straighten up and tighten things as I'm going along. This is copper wire. It does move around a little bit, but when you're done with the piece, it should be solid. So right here, we're going to get to this last end piece. You're going to see me kind of struggle with this part. It is not doing what I wanted to do. Grabbed my needle nose pliers to try to, I wanted to make like a swirl. And you'll see what I mean in a little bit. I'm going to tuck in that corner because it is a sharp edge. Make a small loop. Cut off the excess that keeps unraveling. Yeah, just cut that little piece off. It's all good. We're almost done. So what I do here is I make a little loop and then I'm going to put it right in that little corner, that crevice at the very bottom, right as the piece gets pointy. I'm going to tuck that in there. I'm trying to be careful and using, like position my fingers in the best way possible to anchor one part and so I can move, you know, the other piece without dropping it or making a move I don't want to make. So you're really just watching me carefully tucking in this last little end here. I want it all the way in so it's not sticking out. Alright, now that we've got it all tucked in, you'll see me kind of straighten and tighten the piece up here. So I unfortunately had my phone die, so I did this part off camera. What I did was take these pliers and twist. So I made one of my lightning bolts right in the back there. I also took a 21 copper square gauge wire down the back. I fed it through right here, wrapped it around, underneath, back up again, and tucked it. That's going to give some more stability and it's going to strengthen the piece. Now around here, I grabbed the same copper square wire, went all the way around, and made a loop and a half around the back end. So with this extra piece, it was kind of sticking out, so I tightened it with my angled pliers, and so I made that little shape. This is the final product. I am done wrapping this gorgeous ametrine beautiful straight back, or as straight as possible. Right here you can really see how strapped in this stone is. Look at that shine. You can see how the weave on the side really gives the piece nice character. Even the back of the stone is gorgeous. You can see the agate. The agate is what would be known as the matrix, which is what the actual crystal is growing off of. Very strong in nature. Agate's gorgeous. It's got this blue-white kind of tint to it. Very shiny, very sharp, lots of little points on this. So this piece has multiple flowers on it. Those would be those little mounds. I'm pointing to what I referred to earlier, which would be the flower. You can see the actual spot of what, quote unquote, stem in the rainbow line type of look. That is agate. So I really tried to make sure that you can see the most of the stone as possible. Right here again, you can get a good look at the agate right there. You got the beautiful little rainbow. Nice strong weave. I try to keep it as straight as possible. Okay, so here I'm going to show you the dimensions of this amulet. It could have also been called a talisman because that's what you call a pendant when it has healing properties. So this is over 2 inches, I'd say 2.5 inches in length and about 1.5, almost 2 centimeters in width. The ametrine, because it is citrine and amethyst, the properties are combined and amplified. Amethyst is beautiful for protection against bad vibes, against dark magic. It's going to keep you and your energy safe. The citrine is known as the merchant stone. This stone literally attracts money. It's for the prosperity in good life. If you have a business, you definitely want this stone. If you are, looking for new ways of revenue, to meditate with a citrine is imperative. Meditating with ametrine is going to open up the third eye, and it will promote healing and divination. It unites masculine and feminine energies. Psychologically, the ametrine can enhance the capability and acceptance of others. Wow, I feel like we could all use this stone. It is a stone that can overcome apparent contradictions. Mentally, ametrine brings out clarity, harmonization, perception, and action. It strengthens conversation, concentration, and aids thinking things through, encouraging all exploration of all possibilities, bringing creative solutions. Emotionally, ametrine releases blockages, including negative emotional pre-programming, because I believe it's nurture and nature. Anywho, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please subscribe, comment, leave any kind of feedback you seem fit. I will see you in the next video.